keenly aware that I am standing between people and a drink, just as much as the rest of you. It's always interesting that DIA leaves the room and I get up on the stage. But anyway, I'm going to be quick, 10 minutes, I promise. Make this work. We won't go through too much of this other than the second dot point. Not terrorists. The press rang the other day from Christchurch to check on this. I said, really? They said, yeah. I said, okay. My background is infrastructure, and most of the work I've done the last 4 or 5 years is about trying to get organisations from where they are to the promise of cloud, which you heard a lot about again today, because it's not that easy. We'll probably skip that. I think one of the notable things about cloud in New Zealand is that move to IaaS and PaaS seems to be slowing down a bit, and that software as a service market is increasing. People are sort of going straight to the product at the end rather than trying to re-engineer their own stuff and all the complexity that goes with that. For the small to medium business, it's a massive tool just in terms of money and being able to stand up and create a company in literally a day with everything that you need to run. Persistent myths. Cloud is easy. No, it's not. You need to find people who understand it. It's hard, it's complicated. It's not significantly cheaper than on-premise IT. By the time you start to add in controls, security, the other services that you need, authentication, integration, the list goes on, that cost starts to come up. I still think it's cheaper, but it's not significantly cheaper. The security aspect, I still hear this. I think that the large cloud houses are generally more secure, if not majorly more secure when you start to look at Amazon and Microsoft in particular, because they can afford to spend the money on that stuff. Everyone does hybrid cloud. Lots of people start off trying to buy a single source cloud solution. Everyone ends up doing hybrid, and all organisations will go down that path. It's about picking the pieces, best of breed, and not getting yourself locked into a single cloud provider. I still hear that cloud reduces control. I'm not so sure. If you look at the Sky High presentation, there's a very high degree of control and automation, some of the Oracle stuff as well. I think it increases control. There's another thing when people say the cloud should just be used for everything, and quite often when I talk to customers, that's where they start. They say, I've got all this stuff, I want it to go into cloud. Well, maybe eventually, but to start with, let's look at the stuff that actually makes sense. Cloud shouldn't be used for mission critical services. More and more that is being disproven. One of the slightly frightening things I heard the other day talking to someone was an airline manufacturer who is looking at using cloud to push updates to airplanes while they're flying. So at the moment what happens is they literally take...
And the cloud?
Yeah, literally take a USB stick and they plug it into the plane on the ground and they upload the latest firmware for the plane and the engineering and everything else. So they're going to do that in real time. So clouds and clouds and planes. Yeah, no, we're missing a plane somewhere as well. Come back. Challenges. I'm going to touch on a couple of these and just skip through it, I think. Start with something small. Start with a cloud beachhead. So choose some kind of cloud service and just put a handful of servers in it and let the IT group actually play with it. It's a really good way for particularly IT to start to understand how it fits together, how it works, without putting a major application in there. Put an Active Directory server in there, put a file server in there, whatever. The data sovereignty issue is interesting, and it's just going to go on and on with this debate. The fact that we've now got Microsoft close in Australia, and we have that kind of relationship with Australia, the latency, and similar countries legally, is a good thing, I think. So I would still be looking inside of that kind of group, inside those locations. Again, Snowden revelations today, we're spying on people. Really? No way. And I see NBR running an article today that customs now wants to be able to demand you give over your passwords when you go through the border, and if you don't, they'll put you in jail for 3 months. So this war is just going to go on and on and on and Shadow IT is an opportunity when you start to look at some of those automated type processes around Okta and so on and so forth. So rather than saying no to the business, we can say yes, maybe not that one, that's a good idea, and kind of manage it. The government directives on cloud usage, I think, in my opinion, are confusing and they're slowing adoption. My advice would be the GCIO's 104 questions cloud document is gold. Use that. That will save you tens of thousands of dollars in consulting fees. Steer away from the spooks and spies who have released all kinds of security manuals that say don't do cloud. They've just done it in a very clever way. So that is causing confusion inside government circles. The GCIO, as far as I see at the moment, is still king. So I definitely go to that. In the future, there's probably a couple of things that I can highlight here. One is that just when you're getting ready for cloud and understanding it and got the executive all talking about it and got them on board, along comes stuff like the Internet of Things. And particularly in local government, we're now seeing massive sensor networks starting to be deployed across cities and tracking every last aspect of the environment, the city, the traffic, so on and so forth. All of that's generating data, all of that's going to cloud, all of that has to be secure, all of that has to be disaggregated, privacy information, so on and so forth. That's huge. The second one is that government open data will become an increasing trend. A lot of agencies are starting to look at how they create a public-facing cloud that they can put open data into, rather than trying to drip feed the data out currently. So basically what they say is, Statistics New Zealand is a reasonably good example. Here's all the data, here's the APIs. You, New Zealand community, you just do what you want with it. And it saves a lot of money and it creates a lot of innovation without having to kind of force it. So I think that's something that we'll see more and more of. IT themselves are going to face a whole range of changes. So again, if you look as an example today, security analysts and contractors have to sift through data to find out what the organisation's using. They miss things, they miss that, and then they have to sit there and they've got to go through a pretty manual process to work out the risk assessment of the service and so on and so forth. Something like Sky High automates that process, so that analyst role changes. You don't need as many of them, you need them in different places. Systems administrators start to fall away, business intelligence starts to increase rapidly, developers start to increase rapidly. That change will be and continue to be quite disruptive, I think. The other thing that's going to hold us back is that enterprise change management, so the EPMO models. It's not working. We know that traditional project methodology, if you're running a software project that is over $12 million, you have a 97% chance it will fail. That's an actual true statistic. So that has to change, because the thing with cloud is that it allows that amazingly rapid development of stuff. And so you can have a very big disaster quite quickly along the way. I think that government themselves, particularly DIA, need to move from producing products in a commercial construct to guidance. And I suspect over time that will happen. I'm starting to see that. The GCIO's document on cloud as a guidance tool, risk-based tool, is excellent. That's a great thing. We could talk about that for quite a while. Cloud uptake's really high. In fact, it also bolted. We all sort of sit there going, cloud is coming, but the reality is it's here and we need to manage it. It's that. It really is that simple. We actually need to get back in front of the horse and figure out which way we want to go. Because at the moment, it's just quite happily rambling across the fields at a great rate of noise. Got to challenge those myths along the way. It's going to slow down adoption and cost you money. All we know is that everything's going to get faster and more disruptive as cloud goes. Let's try and pick the opportunities. And my one piece of advice is always start small. Just start with something little and build off that. And if you don't like it, you can burn it. You can try something else, but try great things and make it interesting. Yeah.